So, John, could you just weigh in on that a little bit? What were some of the interesting things that you found from the insights that analytic partners were able to provide to you through this model that made you shift away from, say, one type of strategy into another one? Can you give us one example of that?
Sure. I think there's a couple that I would give, and I think it was so great being able to work with Fred and the team over at Analytic Partners is because historically we hadn't invested in many different channels from a marketing standpoint. As I mentioned earlier, we were very much driven primarily like terrestrial or broadcast television, and then really search. That we didn't have a lot of data within our own systems and tools to understand. Well, if we started to shift into digital video or into paid social, how are we going to perform? How are our assets actually going to perform? And so they were able to really help us understand, hey, if you start to make these investments to reach these new audiences, to find ways to ensure that audiences that are looking for the needs and services that you're trying to provide them in those channels that they're in, here's how we think the performance is going to work. And so it gave us confidence to be able to start to make those shifts, to create those assets, put those assets then into those channels that we started investing in. And then we were able to measure that and say, hey, interesting, we're starting to actually see some really good performance of those marketing assets in those channels. How high is high? How much more should we be investing in digital video? How much more should we be investing in paid social? How do we continue to learn not only the best places to put our advertising assets and our advertising budgets, but how can we also continually optimize the creative assets within those channels in order to make sure that we're getting the best out of each and every dollar that we're putting into that particular channel? And so Fred's team and Analytic Partners helped us understand where should we prioritize new channels that we wanted to get into, and then also enable to help us understand as we invested more, what kind of performance returns were we seeing? What kind of insights can we glean from that? Allowing us then to be able to start to look ahead. Where should we go next with this? Should we be investing more in this channel, shifting over to this channel? And then how are those advertising assets actually delivering those performance results in order to make sure that we're constantly iterating, not just the channel mix and the budget mix, but also the actual messages themselves in the channels where we're putting those different creative assets.